that stretches from Greenland to the African coast, and during the reign of the Ice Age, this was the location of the island of Atlantis in its capital city, Poseidonis. It was from the center of the Atlantic that Atlantis ruled the world. Atlantis had all the technologies that we have now, and then some. Remember, the machinery and electronics that we possess are only 140 years old, and mostly the conceptualizations of one man made real, and technologies still as of yet unrevealed to the modern man, who was no less clueless to the history of Atlantis than was the Athenian archon Solon 2,610 years ago. The majority of modern men will reject the notion of Atlantis outright, while believing without reservation the biblical Noah's flood, without ever realizing the flood of Noah is the flood that claimed Atlantis in every coastal city around the world, reshaping coastlines for thousands and thousands of miles. While some claim it was a great war between the rival powers in antediluvian Europe, Asia, and the Atlantic power bases, others claim it was angry gods who punished the sinful Atlantean people for their haughtiness. Our contention at Bad Machine is somewhat different. We believe the Atlanteans were aware of the impending catastrophe and planned contingencies to survive it. Like the fictional Jor-El of Krypton, whose dire warnings went unheeded, we believe the Atlanteans were also aware of what lay ahead and prepared themselves for the inevitable. Possessing aerospace flight technologies, the Atlanteans monitored their world as we do now, with manned aircraft and satellites. The Atlanteans knew they had a global warming problem. The Atlanteans knew their world was warming at an accelerated level, and the great glaciers to the north and south were at risk. Only certain sections of the glaciers had remained solid ice, while at the surface, great oceans of ice water churned and pulsed, as our landlocked oceans do now in ever-deepening tides. As the Earth's natural precession wobble changed our orientation with the sun, more solar irradiance would heat the atmosphere, both melting and weakening the glacial bowl holding the ice oceans at bay. The Bible tells us how Noah is forewarned by Yahweh to prepare for the flood by building an ark, and we see that repeated in the non-biblical versions of the flood. Certain residents are always alerted or advised as how to survive the impending doom. Submersible arks, floating cubes, clay vessels, log boats, all are crafted so that man may endure the upcoming flood. Then, one night it happened, just as described by Plato's Critias dialogue. All of Atlantis was destroyed in a single night. So much of the northern glacier had melted that it looked more like an ice bowl than a glacier. And when the first chunk of the ice wall broke away, the oceans of freezing salt water came bursting outward, and no force on Earth could stop them. Millions of tons of North Atlantic Ocean rushed southward, engulfing everything that stood in its path. The archipelago in the Atlantic was doomed, but it had sent out lifeboats and its own arks filled with the people of their advanced society, sending them out into the world now wrecked by the catastrophic planetary event. The Atlanteans would rebuild the world in Sumer, Hattusha, and Egypt, across the Americas, into the Andes. They would create the megalithic structures of the Copper Age, and they would see a new rise to man after the fall from the Atlantean greatness. But 2,000 years into their endeavor, when the great glacier wall in the southern hemisphere ruptured and covered their mighty works in yet another 20 feet of silt and mud. One world culture destroyed not once but twice by natural ecological disasters. Atlantis would need to dig itself out of 2 epochs before being revealed to Solon so many centuries later. Oddly enough, the passing tale told to Solon by the priests of Net has managed to survive millennia, as those who hear it to this very day are captured by the ancient story as if struck by a forgotten memory. It has even been suggested that the suppressed memory of the flood is at the root of the psyches of all who live today. The worldwide disaster so traumatizing, generations of man epigenetically scarred for the duration of the species. Of that, we cannot be certain, but of the existence of Atlantis is something we can be certain, as the legacy of the people of the Golden Serpent is evident throughout the world. The academics and the skeptics may doubt, but the legacy of the nation of Atlantis has endured longer than their contrarian objections, as 10,000 years of tales and inexplicable archaeology from around the world fuels conjecture still. But those who seek to learn instead of dismiss that which is new to them will forever challenge the smaller minds amongst us, pointing out the many inconsistencies of the modern-day university narrative of nonsense and easily disproved lies. Atlantis lives on in the memory of man, as no oceans of water nor tons of mud are able to completely subsume the legacy of man's greatest age.
Atlantis is gone, but free men, wiser men, carry the culture from the Mother Empire to the four corners of the earth.
Bad Machine. Are you ready to get blitzed? Prepare yourself for life's uphill battle. Master Trainer Jim D's Fitness Blitz training techniques will make you stronger, more determined, and ready for any challenge. Burn fat, build muscle, improve your cardiovascular health with resistance training, mental conditioning, martial arts, yoga, and sports-specific performance enhancement. Train in your home, on Fitness Blitz certified equipment, or in your local gym. Take the Fitness Blitz Challenge. Begin every day by pushing your limits and taking control of your life. Grab life by the horns and reach for your ideal potential. Dive into a new concept in total health and competitive activity. Challenge yourself to be better and dare not to fail with Fitness Blitz. Learn more at www.fitnessblitztv or by calling 917-804-6589. Begin your quest to be your best with Fitness Blitz today. You're listening to Jim Dynamo, the man with the nickel. The era of the bitch is coming. A Hillary Clinton presidential victory promises to usher in a new age of public misogyny. This is according to Michelle Cottle, a dumb bitch who writes for the Atlantic Politics and Policy Daily. Get ready for the era of the bitch. If Hillary Clinton wins the White House in November, it will be a historic moment, smashing the preeminent glass ceiling of an American public life. A mere 240 years after this nation's founding, a woman will occupy its top office. America's daughters will at last have a living, breathing, pantsuit-wearing proof that they too can grow up to be president. Ooh, so special. No accomplishments other than having 2 X chromosomes. A Clinton victory also promises to usher in 48 years of a kind of down and dirty public misogyny you might expect from a stag party at Roger Ailes' house. Of course, the 50 years of public misandry expressed on television and by women like Michelle Cottle is supposed to be ignored by those of us who have the X and Y chromosome, because you see, we're not supposed to notice the policy of hatred that continues day after day, media report after media report. You know it's coming as hyper-partisanship, grievance politics, and garden variety rage shift from America's first black commander-in-chief onto its first female one. So too will the focus of political bigotry. We all sort of called this a year ago, before Hillary Clinton was even nominated, saying that everyone who was a racist would suddenly become a misogynist. Because you see, that's how Democrat progressives like to frame things. If you object to someone's policies, if you object to someone's behavior, if you object to someone's, let's say, violating the Constitution and the gross negligence where American property is concerned, that could be FBI records, FBI files, that could be Department of State records, that could be the Benghazi records, that could be all sorts of things kept on a private server somewhere in Chappaqua. But you see what we have. We can't criticize these things because to do so, you see, that's misogyny. We just don't like women, you see. Not that we don't like crooks, not that we don't like traitors, not that we don't like people who shit all over our laws and our nation. We don't like women. We're only married to women, or dating women, or have women children, and most of us even have women mothers. Can you imagine? Wow. We have like women mothers and everyone seems to be misogynist. Amazing. Either way, it'll be best to brace yourself for some in-your-face sexist drivel in the coming years because, if you point out that Barack Obama failed at every aspect of being a president, you're really just anti-black. You're not pointing out that the man was a fucking buffoon and he failed at everything and he set the world on fire, including America, as he invades it with Muslim cancer that is here to destroy us, to shoot us down at malls, to kill us at discotheques, to shoot us down at Christmas parties, and then to pretend shock and whining when a Muslim gets shot by, a Latino. Of course, that media story disappeared pretty quickly. Isn't that something? Had it been a white guy, it would have been blown up and construed into some sort of nonsense. Just like this article from this dumb bitch, Michelle Cottle, is nonsense. That's right, Michelle. You're just another dumb bitch. You know why you're another dumb bitch, honey? Because you would rather have a corrupt fuck like Hillary Clinton in the White House or an inept buffoon like Barack Obama in the White House than ever concede to allowing an evil white man to run the nation. I mean, evil white men only built the nation. Evil white men only freed the slaves. And evil white men only gave dummies like you a vote. Why we gave women a vote, I'm not really sure. Because they don't really vote for anything of substance. They vote because they're true believers. I'm a true believer. What's the policy? You don't know. You have no policies. You have nothing. Your policies are abortion and welfare. Abortion and welfare. I'm for abortion and I'm for welfare. Because I might get pregnant because I'm stupid and I might need welfare. Because, again, I'm stupid and I can't comport myself with a normal behavior that one might expect of our grandmother's generation or our great-grandmother's generation. So therefore, we'll vote for things that are little backdoor trapdoors. The hell with society. The hell with the 40 million babies that have been exterminated. I'm sorry, that's 46 million babies that have been exterminated by 46 million homicidal women across this nation in the last 46 years. You wouldn't think that a nation is possessed by 46 million killers, but it most certainly is. These killers live in your homes, these killers cook your food, these killers clean your clothing, and yet they're allowed to make other social decisions. They couldn't make a proper decision to not get pregnant. They couldn't make a proper decision as to what to do with the pregnancy other than destroy it, because that's what nature does, you see. That's what all other beasts under God's heaven are allowed to do, you see. I'm pregnant, let me destroy it. That is a psychosis that is only in one species that lives on this planet, and that's the species called man. And the breakdown of that species is women get abortions all the time. 46 million abortions. That's a hell of a lot more than all the prisons combined, both male and female. People who were put in jail for killing adults, but the people who kill their own children are accepted by society. Shh. We're not supposed to notice, because if we say this, you know what? We're misogynists. We don't like women. Not that we don't like murder. Not that we don't like abortion. Not that we don't like a lack of accountability. Not that we don't like caprice. We don't like women. Right, Michelle. Right, Hillary. Right, Camille. Right, idiots. I know, you've had it so rough. You've been liberated now for almost 100 years, and you haven't quite destroyed everything that you used to have responsibility for. The family, you're slowly destroying it. Society, by destroying the family, you're destroying it. Marriage, you destroy it because, listen, you're out fucking around and being little tramps because you want to be just like men, Because men behave like what? Well, if you know men,